just turned onto the 405. I like to call the 405 our home road, our home freeway. Jones asked, "Is this our road, Daddy?" I said, "Well, this is the 5. We're going to get on the 405 soon, and that's our road." Because, well, let's face it, 405 is our backyard. Not only that, it's the road that we most often drive on, other than the road that we live on. So that's what I was explaining to Jones, and that's why I'm making this short video, because we have been going for that many miles. I think it's about, well, we're approaching 4,500 miles. You want me to put the song back on? I'm just making a quick video. We've driven almost 4,500 miles. Holy Jesus! Welcome back to Washington. There is traffic everywhere, and it's what, 2 o'clock in the afternoon. That's why you're driving the carpool. The car's going everywhere. I mean, trucks everywhere. People going to Renton and Auburn. Driving on the 167. Grateful for where we live. Jones is ready for the fireworks song. We'll play it for you again, Jones. Jones, can you see that plane up in the sky over there? Jones loves planes. He loves planes, and he loves trains, and he loves building things. It's what, buddy? It's a tall airplane. It's kind of hard to hear in the back of the van. I almost need like why don't vans have like a little speaker where you can like speak to the front and the back or something? I don't know. I guess that's probably defeats the purpose of your kid learning to what? Learning to use their voice, find their voice, and speak clearly. If you just handicap them, then they'll have to just suffer elsewhere, or other people won't hear them. Anyway, so Jones speaks pretty well for a 2-year-old. He's 3 and 3 months. Sometimes people just like cut you off. It's kind of random. I don't know if they misunderstand your driving, or maybe I drive aggressively. I'm not sure. But this guy like went into a lane, and I went into the lane next to him, and then he like just went in front of me, like abruptly. So I flashed him, and then he put on his brakes, and I was like, oh my gosh, this guy's an idiot. Anyway, we're grateful to be home. It's always a funny feeling coming home. It's always mixed emotions, right? You've really enjoyed being away. You've enjoyed being where you are. But coming home means you have to deal with things at home. When you're away, you can't deal with them because you're not home. But now we are home, which means we get to deal with them. So that's what we're coming back to. So, what am I coming back to? So many things. But the first 2 things I'm coming back to deal with is I'm refinancing a rental property, getting some cash out, holla, and getting a great rate, which I'm really grateful for. Thankful that in America you can fix it for 30 years. That's kind of cool. And then I have branches of trees that have fallen or are perched precariously and going to fall in that said rental's front yard. So those, I think, are 2 of the things that I need to, that are most urgent on the list. I need to get these kids a good sleep, although they had a good sleep in the car, but we need to make sure they get a good sleep this evening, because they need it. If you're a parent, you know when your kids need rest. Heck, I need rest. And they've had some great times with friends this week, which has been good for them. But they'll get to go to school tomorrow. It'll also be good for them. Jones, you get to see Colton tomorrow. Remember Colton? He's at school tomorrow, I think, I hope. The kids haven't been at school since the beginning of January, I feel like. COVID because of the 10 days. They took some time off for COVID, and then the family got COVID from school, presumably. So then they had another 4 weeks off, and then we traveled for 4 weeks. So I mean, they've barely been in preschool all year. Don't worry, we still paid for it, still invested in it. Do I just think of that as a donation? I'm not sure. But we're back. We are back. God, lead us in what is most important. Who is most important? I don't know what's going on. I've seen more police pull people over recently. It's almost as if cities need money and they're starting to pull people over. That's all I can think. I don't know. Maybe if cities let businesses operate so they could get tax revenue, they wouldn't have to. Anyway, one thing I've always appreciated is, I got pulled over 3 times in my first 3 to 9 months that I lived here. But I think it's mostly because I was driving a Grand Marquis Mercury through places like Medina. I got pulled over twice there. Once because I might have been going a few miles over the speed limit. It's 20 or something, or 25. And once because I was driving in a bike lane. And then I got pulled over on the 5, pretty far south. It's coming home from somewhere. And it was late, and I think I was not staying in the lane, and the guy wanted to make sure I wasn't drunk. And he was Irish, and he could tell that I wasn't drunk. And I was literally fresh off the boat, so. Lake Washington. Hello, Lake Washington. There's something about coming home. It's like, home is really where the heart is, and honestly, home is wherever the heart is. I think where the people is 80% where the people are. It's 20. I use these percentages loosely, but it's roughly 20% the geography and the location, and it's 80% the people, because the region is mostly made up of the people, and certain regions attract certain type of people. Whether it be because of the geography, because people like the outdoors or the lakes or the mountains or the beach,
watch out, vehicle stopped on shoulder ahead.
Or they come for the companies and the type of work that happens there, and vice versa. And then one or another becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy. Side note, real estate booms and busts around the country often are driven by professional jobs. Those professional jobs are often driven by cities and city governments making it attractive for those professional jobs to come there. Because for every professional job, it might vary, but there is 4 or 5 non-professional jobs that follow the professional job. Turn fireworks back on, and when the professional jobs come, then people start to buy houses, which increases demand. And when the non-professional jobs come, people buy and rent houses, and that increases demand, and so then people start building more, which increases supply, and there's this cycle that happens. But eventually cities typically that do well end up getting cocky and prideful and forget what made them successful, and they start to create rules and laws and practices that drive people away, and then those people go elsewhere where it's more free, and the cycle begins all over again. It's almost like draft picking in professional sports. Keeps it even, I guess, in some ways. I don't know. What in the world? It's 2:20 in the afternoon, and the 405 is just stopped dead. Is it Boeing traffic? Who's going home at 2:20 in the afternoon? I'm going home. Oh, man. God, I just thank you for Kirkland, Bellevue, Woodinville, Seattle, Redmond, and King County, and Washington. I ask for righteous leaders. I ask for righteous leaders, for leaders that would bring you glory. Lord, remove unrighteousness from this cities, this state, this nation. I speak truth and righteousness. Lord, wake up your people, wake up your people, wake up your kingdom citizens, wake up the kingdom warriors, wake us up, wake us up. Put a holy urgency, a holy conviction in our spirits about what is your priority, about what is your will being done, what that looks like. And let us live that out, what your kingdom coming, what that looks like. Lord, let us build relationships where you would have us. Let us build businesses and homes and families and schools and your ecclesia, or as a modern believer might call it, your church. Lord, I speak blessing. I speak blessing over Kirkland and Bellevue. I thank you for righteous leaders. I thank you for good, godly leaders, for righteous leaders who would not call evil good and good evil, but would call good good